James Tynion, Matthew Rosenberg, Simone DeMeo, and Otto Schmidt pit the Batman and the Green Arrow against the entire Justice League as the heroes are cornered in the Batcave, forced to fight their friends as they work to prove the vampire conspiracy is real. James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg shake up the slow burn mystery series with an all-out action issue that sees more heroes learn of the vampire conspiracy as well as succumb to them. I enjoyed the banter between Bruce and Oliver as they fought their friends, actively trying to determine who is a vampire and who isn't as they take the team down with Batman's contingencies. It's a lot of fun, and it leaves their story off with them pretty much being beaten and forced to retreat as we enter the back half of this series. The big thing I had a problem with this series so far is that we haven't really gotten much in the way of the Master. We just keep hearing his name being mentioned and how he's the one sort of orchestrating all of this. But here this issue pretty much confirms that it probably is going to be the Joker, given how people were talking about the villain and how it's revealed that he is a vampire and he's going after Batman. Of course, this could all just be a red herring, and I really hope it is, since the Joker just seems like such an obvious play and a pretty boring choice as the big bad. It also raises the question on how he suddenly became this sort of ultra level genius who can keep some large scale worldwide conspiracy running for months if not years on end. Otto Schmidt is joined this issue by Simone DeMeo, who tackles the Suicide Squad side of the plot, and while usually a lot of the books with multiple artists do well at complementing each other's styles, here it is the complete opposite. Don't get me wrong, both artists are incredibly brilliant. I love each of their art styles separately, but pairing them together is like night and day, and not in the fun Batman Superman type way, but in a way that's actually kind of rather distracting, since Otto's work is a lot more darker and relies on shadows and stuff like that, while Simone's is quite bright and colourful, which looks fantastic but doesn't really go well together in this format. DC vs. Vampires issue 5 was an action-filled, fast-paced issue that revealed some much-needed information about the big villain of the series, but also left me hoping that it's all one big clever misdirect from the writers as we enter the back half of the series. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10. DC vs. Vampires issue 5 sees Task Force X hitting a warehouse, spreading out to look for their target, the Joker, but they find someone has beaten them to the killing. Elsewhere, Batman and Green Arrow battle the Justice League, with Oliver wondering what the plan is, hoping for something more than just shooting arrows at them. Diana tries to convince Bruce that he is sick and he knows what he did to Barry was wrong, but Batman smashes her in the face with his boot as Oliver refuses to let Cyborg turn him into a freak like him, correcting himself and saying he meant into a vampire, not into a cyborg. Superman grabs Batman, telling him that they'll get him some help somehow, as Bruce asks how they got to Clark, knowing that he will win this. He activates a hidden capsule in his mouth, spraying kryptonite gas all over Superman and hitting him down onto the ground, telling the hero that he will win because he has to. The Suicide Squad meanwhile find the bloody corpses left in the warehouse where the Joker was meant to be, finding the villain isn't there but all his friends are and they're all dead. Deadshot notices how someone drank all of their blood, making the team wonder if vampires really are real. Waller contacts them, telling them that the mission has changed and they are now to bring Joker to her alive. Floyd isn't too happy since he's a vampire now, asking about special weapons they need to take them down, but Waller knows they'll have to make it work as suddenly Black Spider is ripped in half by the Vampire King Shark, as Savant and Parasite are also revealed to be vampires as well, surrounding the human members of the Suicide Squad. Cyborg meanwhile gets everyone to stop fighting one another, telling Batman that they know of the blood infection he has and they can cure it. Batman knows there is no cure, but Victor still wants the hero to come with them and what happened to Barry wasn't his fault. Batman knows that Hal Jordan killed the Flash, not knowing who else is turned besides Diana, but they are all on the wrong side of this. Victor wants to believe him, but he's seen the evidence, but Batman knows that it's all fake, and he refuses to go with the League or even use Diana's lasso, and thanks to it, Victor knows that he's not giving him much of a choice here. Batman decides to access his computer files, knowing that he has the evidence, as Hal tries his best to prove Batman is lying. Batman wants Victor to look over them and verify the files himself, but when Cyborg jacks into the computer, the safeguards activate and a blinding light emanates from the computer, electrocuting Cyborg, cutting the power and allowing Batman and Green Arrow to escape. Oliver asks if he really shocked the guy that was on their side, but Batman doesn't assume anyone is on their side. Oliver is so happy that he decided to black out the cave, filled with the undead creatures of the night, but Batman knows it wasn't just the cave, but also the Wayne Manor above them, as well as the entirety of Gotham City. In the darkened city, Nightwing contacts the Bat family, asking what happened, but Red Hood doesn't know. Cassandra tracks the power surge back to the Batcave as Robin races towards the manor, telling Damian that he's closest so he'll pick him up on the way. Green Lantern continues looking for Batman, wanting to help him and Oliver as Batman appears, throwing some yellow dust onto Hal, blinding him and disrupting his power. Batman tells Oliver that it was a fine silica powder of a specific shade of yellow and it will neutralize his power. Oliver is worried it'll give him cancer, but Bruce tells him not to worry and only worry about the vampires, asking if his arrows are ready. Oliver is completely ready, firing at Hal, but he misses his heart, and Batman knows that Oliver doesn't miss, but the hero wonders what if Bruce has made a mistake here, since he doesn't do that. He fires another arrow, but Martian Manhunter catches it, wanting Oliver to face him, but the arrow catches on fire, burning John as Batman pushes Manhunter into a teleporter, knowing that he wouldn't be able to be turned thanks to his alien physiology, so this is for his own good, wanting Manhunter to find them when he gets back. Batman sends Manhunter away through the teleporter, destroying the controls so he can't come back through it. Oliver asks why they didn't use it to escape, but Bruce knows they aren't done yet as Hawkgirl attacks. Oliver hits her with an arrow in the wing, knowing that that's yet another apology note he'll have to write now. Deadshot and his team meanwhile hold their own against the infected teammates, finding Waller has cut all communications with them. Luckily, Batgirl arrives, killing Savant with a stake as she tells the team that she knows all about the vampires, but also learns that Joker is now one of them as well. Batman and Green Arrow finally defeat the rest of the Justice League, confronting Wonder Woman, the only Leaguer left standing, knowing that she can't win. Diana isn't so sure, attacking the heroes as she asks why Bruce doesn't want to join them since this is the only path forward. She grabs Bruce, knowing that she should at least try and turn him since he would be a good vampire. Bruce sprays Wonder Woman with holy water, burning her face, as Diana calls him a coward for using that, as Hawkgirl realizes that Diana really was a vampire. It's too late, however, as the injured Hawkgirl is picked up by Wonder Woman, who bites her neck before Oliver can fire his arrows at the undead monster. He asks Bruce what they are to do now, asking what Diana's weaknesses are, but Bruce knows it's her friends, so Oliver knows that's now a bust, helping Bruce up as Batman tells him to run. Batman unsheathes a stake, rushing Wonder Woman, who easily beats Bruce around, knowing that he was so close, but he wasn't strong enough. Diana tells the bloodied Bruce that she doesn't enjoy this, like what Bruce thinks they do, but that just shows how little he actually understood all of them. Suddenly she is hit in the face by the Bat Cycle as both Robins return to the Batcave, asking if she likes their motorcycle. Diana thinks they made a horrible mistake coming there, but Oliver shuts her up with an explosive fire arrow. As the cave burns, Damian thinks that they should stay and take her, but Oliver knows that they can't, wanting to get Bruce to the Batmobile. Damian wants to drive, but Tim reminds him that he's definitely not allowed to, but with no other choice, they all escape the Batcave. Bruce awakens in the car as it heads out of the cave, asking if Oliver and Tim are clear of the cave, knowing that they need to slow down the vampires. Damian thinks that he's delirious, wanting him to relax as Bruce activates the controls in the car through voice recognition, causing the entirety of Wayne Manor and the cave to explode. In the wreckage of the building, Hal and Diana find each other, knowing their master will not be pleased that Batman got away. They find the weakened Superman, who says that he was sprayed in the face by kryptonite, as the vampires reassure Clark they have him and they are there to help.